We'll quickly start. Let's start with my intro first in a very quick, short intro. So this is a 3 days workshop. I'll be taking your first 3 days, and the next week, the following 3 days will be taken by another brother. So again, my name is Jahidul Islam. Some of you may have went through my LinkedIn profile. I currently work for Amazon as a system development engineer, and as well, I do also run a bootcamp school called Izaan School. A full-fledged bootcamp school is a Texas state approved school. And then also on the side, I run another recruiting firm called Connect Talents. That's about me, a short. I'm a very passionate coach. I've been teaching people, I think, over 6 years in tech. This is something I love to do. I hope end of this session, you will have some value. We'll be able to add some value in your, portfolio.
Yes, it's me, Arslan. I have joined today.
Okay, Arsalan, thank you for joining. Have you ever worked within with any services within Amazon Web Services?
No, not right now.
Okay, all right, no issues. Just stay with us. We have discussed some fundamental things yesterday.
Alright.
Yeah, can you all hear me?
Hello? Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Those who just joined today, for you folks, right? We went over some fundamental things yesterday. That will help other folks to continue today's session. But again, as you are new, just have some patience, and if you really don't understand something, I will try to clarify, but you may have to refer to the earlier videos in some cases. But again, you should be able to pick up, hopefully. The goal is maybe you won't be able to do it like by your hand, which we name it skill. But as long as you understand the concept, as long as you understand what we are doing, why you are doing, and you get some sorts of interest of doing this type of things, I would say that this session is going to be, this session, you can go with an outcome, right? I just wanted to make sure I set the right expectation to the new folks. Okay, all right. So is there any question for me from the last session? And did you guys get your account up and running?
I have one question, Jahidul.
Yeah, sure.
did get my account sign up. You recommended that we use not the root, right? So I added a IAM user, but I I move away from the screen and I don't know where my temporary password.
Yeah,
I don't know
no
how to
issues.
get back to that.
I'll walk you through that. How can you reset it? You remember yesterday also we resetted it, but I did reset it in my screen, so you didn't actually see. So we can, you can share the screen quickly and then we can reset that. Yes, there is a recording. So end of tomorrow's sessions, we will, at some point by tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you will find all the sessions in our YouTube, so that you have it for a long time. Okay. Anyone else have any other question? Imtiaz, when you're ready, you can share your screen and we can look into that and we can show you how to reset that.
Awesome. So I'm going to share right now.
Yeah, meantime, if anyone else have any question, please feel free to ask. And and in case if you hear me, I'm talking a little bit fast, right? You can tell me that, hey, Jahidul, you're going too fast, talk slow, right? I won't mind on that, but that's my regular speed. Not regular speed, I would say I'm still slow. But feel free to, let me know, because I do not know you folks. So I do not know how you are really observing. So feel free to talk and notify me that, hey, I need further clarification, or just go a little bit slow, explain me this. And don't worry about asking question, right? I love questions, because question helped me to clarify you, and I understand that you are listening. If I don't, that's a motivation for me, right? When someone, I feel like you are really listening, that's actually the motivation of taking a session and talking this long continuously, right? Okay, so Imtiaz, is this your user? If you go scroll down a little bit, click on security credentials, it might be there. Don't think so. Yeah, then you see manage access console, manage console access, right there.
Console access. Okay.
Yeah, then it will ask you that what you want to do. You can disable account. You can say reset this password. So then you can have some custom password. You can do auto-generated. Let's do auto-generated one. And then now you have your password. You can use a clipboard, copy this password, paste it in your Word file and whatnot, and then the next procedures, right?
Okay. Yes.
You can download this CSV too. You click the download, and I usually no one will recommend you to download the CSV as part of practice, best practice, because when you download a CSV, you store in your local device, and the local device is subjected to compromise, right?
Yes.
So, and then also when you create a credentials for some users and whatnot, you can turn off your screen, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then also when you, let's say, in your company, there is no single sign-on activated. And if you don't know what is single sign-on means, in simple, single sign-on means you have one username and password from your company when you get your laptop or whatnot. And then that single username and password you can use across any application within your company. In simple, that's called single sign-on. There are ways that you can apply that to AWS console. In some cases, not exactly the way I'm saying in a very complicated cases, but whatever, when you try to give these username and passwords to your colleagues and workers, the standard practice is you do not give everything in one method. What does it mean? So you have email, you have the link, and you have account link, and then or account number, and then you have passwords, right? So these three things you do not send in one single email. You do not send it in one Slack, using only Slack, or using only email, or using only Teams, whatever the mechanism you use. The best practice is you split it. So you send username through maybe over phone, or maybe through email, send password through Slack, and then send account ID through maybe some other means. Okay, so that's the standard practice. That way, even password is, Slack is being compromised for some reason, it's not a big deal because the person do not know where to use this password, right? It is actually meaningless string. So few best practices I just mentioned here. Do not save your credentials in a hard drive in your computer, in your local. Number one. Number two, do not share these credentials in a single means, email, Slack, or Teams. Send them in a separate means, at least split in two, minimum two. Okay, put a credentials, password in one, and then put other two in a different way. Again, your company may have some different secure system to do it, but it is very rare. But most of the companies, it is still like that. Maybe many companies. So make sure that you do the good practice. Anyone else? Any other? I do not have any AWS account yet, but I do have an AWS through their learning portal. Yes. So you work for, so you have Amazon alias, Melissa, right?
Yes. My company was acquired, so I now have an Amazon alias email along, and they have their Amazon AWS portal for learning.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't created the AWS account yet.
Yeah. So if you have a AWS portal access, so you work for which team or which org? Would you mind to say?
One Medical.
Okay.
So the, what is that? The AHS or the HST? So the health service side of Amazon.
I see. So you are newly acquired company, so that's how you became, part of Amazon, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's a good way to be in Amazon. Yeah. So I know some folks, right? They will target companies which is in a process of acquisition. Okay. This is just a trick, I'm telling you. So they will go ahead. They're very smart people, right? They will say, hey, this company is in a process of conversation to be in Amazon is going to buy or Microsoft is going to buy. Let's try to get a job there so that at some point, 1 year, 2 years down the line, or whenever they buy it, we can be part of that, right? So some people does that trick, but I know you didn't do that. It just happened for you. But yeah, welcome to Amazon. And my suggestion to you is use Amazon portal because there is no harm on that. But again, my suggestion is not to turn on this Zoom in your Amazon Office computer. Okay, so you can definitely go to Amazon, learning portal and do whatever you like to do. Clean this up. This should be perfectly fine. There should not be any problem at all.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Need some help here. Let me know if I can share my screen. Okay, so Mustafa, yes, you can share your screen. Let's troubleshoot quickly. Again, going forward, if you guys have any problem, please feel free to ask us in maybe WhatsApp. That would be great. And then maybe some of your folks or friends can suggest you from there.
Yeah, so I went into IAM and I was just trying to create a user. So it asked me for my username, and then when I select this, should I be selecting this one? So I do have
Yes,
this
you should be.
as my
Yeah, you should be selecting this, right? Because you
Okay.
wanted to log in through the console, right?
Yeah. So now there are two options over here. So it says that specify a user in identity center recommended, and then the second one I want to create an IAM user. So this is my own
Yeah.
local root user account that in the free tier that I have created, and within that I'm trying to create a user.
Yeah, you can
So
choose the
that's
second one. You can choose the second one, although the
Okay.
first one is recommended. First one is the latest version of IAM. Okay.
Okay.
So that's what it is. You can hit the next. Everything should happen, and it should get that auto-generated.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So when I was just trying to go with this first version, it was just trying to take me to identity center. I don't want to go into the details right now. So in identity center, when I was trying to enable that identity center, it was giving two options. One was an organization account, and then the one was standalone AWS account. So at this particular stage, what should be my approach for because now this root user account is my personal account, right? So should I go with that particular organization option or
No.
just
You don't have to go to that. I didn't cover Identity Center here. Okay. Identity
no?
Center is a latest form of that, so we are not covering that. So you can go ahead and create IAM user. This should be sufficient enough for you to work.
Okay, that's fine. So I was just kind of trying to because later on you cannot change certain things, right? So I don't want it to just get
So this
lost.
user you can delete and you can clean up. There is no issues. Just go with this route, get the practice done, and then as you start learning more, then you will be able to explore more.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other question? No?
Yes, I have a question. So I'm at the screen. I selected contact information, business for your work, school, or organization. What do I put for organization name? Izaan school or?
Where it is asking you the organization name? Like,
I don't
is it
know.
account creation stage?
It's at the sign up for AWS contact information. How do you plan to use AWS? It says either business or personal for your own projects.
Yeah, so
And
you
I
choose
selected-
personal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that should not give you an organization option.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's jump into today's work. Those who do not have GitHub account access. So just let me know who do not have GitHub account. Is there anyone who doesn't have GitHub account in this place? I just wanted to clarify a few things. Is there anyone who do not have this account? If you do not have, can you create this account within, like, it will take you under 1 minute if you sign up by use your email and whatnot, if you do not have. And once you have this account, just do me a favor. Yeah, Javed, hopefully you can find it, some of them tomorrow, if not on Monday. Okay. I'm gonna give you guys an Excel file, and where I want you to write your GitHub username and your email. Okay. the board you are looking at today is still public. It will become private by tonight or by tomorrow as soon as we get your details. So you will have to log in to that. You will have to access that link using what should I say? Unrestricted, using your GitHub account. So in this one, please drop your GitHub account details. And let me start sharing my screen. And if you do not know what does GitHub account username means, I can just show you what it means in a quick shortly. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so let me know if you guys can see the screen.
Yes.
Okay, great. And also let me make sure that you have access to this board, and those who are new, make sure you will be able to see this board right now. But after a few minutes, I mean, can't edit to the Google Doc. Can't edit. Okay, so let me just make sure that I gave let me share it properly. 1 second. Can view, can edit. Yeah, I just changed that to editor. So the reason to do this, there are a couple of reasons. We wanted to make sure that it remains in a restricted state. Also, we wanted you to comment here actually with your problems and status. Even you are maybe you will be practicing throughout the week maybe. So you may have concerns and problems which you can really comment here, and I'll try to respond to that as I get some time. But that way we can make these things more interactive. In a public mode, I cannot allow you to do that. All right. And GitHub username is when you sign in. Actually, this will be your username. You will find it here on the top right. If you click your username, so this will be your username. Okay, so that's a small housekeeping. And today we are going to start with our workshop, right? With a project, small project. Before I proceed, I'll show you the project so that you know what project we are going to build. I have a personal GitHub. Personal GitHub, what does it mean? I have one through work, but do not want to connect this. Yeah, personal, anything you feel free to, do whatever. Like I prefer you to use your training, your personal account for all your training purposes. The reason is your personal account will stay with you for a long period of time as long as you do not destroy. So that way you can really utilize that for future purposes, right? Because it also comes with some trace, right? If you go to GitHub account, I'll show you what I mean for those folks here new. If I go to my dashboard, where I can show you this. Oh, really? Why don't I see this? I'm trying to show you something. Maybe your profile. Let me check. So do you see these activities? Right? You see all these green stuff? It shows your, footprint, right? How much active you are, what you are doing in your GitHub account. So sometimes to some employer, you will have to submit some work through GitHub. If you want to submit work through GitHub, and if your GitHub account doesn't have much activities, but you said you worked 3 years in the industry or 5 years in the industry, it doesn't make much sense to them. But yeah, yes, you can still create a simple one or new one. But I would say like these are footprint, your online footprint. And I would highly recommend you to use your personal account for all your training activities.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So that would be my recommendation. So again, excuse me. All right. Let's go back.
Can we change the GitHub ID and email at any point in time?
I think no, it's immutable. You cannot change it once you create. ID you cannot change.
Email you can change, right? ID, I thought
Yeah,
so.
there is
like,
there is a Excel file we just shared. In that Excel file, what I can do, I can use this Excel file in the use this. Yeah, please mute yourself if you are unmuted yourself.
কিরকম করে আমার সাথে আপনারা কোথায় করেছেন আমাদেরকে আপনারা চুল কাটছেন
Okay. Okay, so use this link to add your GitHub username. So you can use this link. Okay. I just added this link in the comment. Okay. Yeah, so see, we use our project here. We use our stuff here. So if you have issues and things like that, we can continue discussions under this thread. Even, we are not here. I'm putting the references and informations only in GitHub account in this project ticket, so that we can have it in nice way instead of doing it in PowerPoint. I think I explained that earlier. So let's go ahead with this. So what we are going to do today we are going to do a very simple thing. I will give you some documentation to get it done by yourself. So even you are unable to follow when I am doing it, I suggest not to try to follow. Better to listen and understand, get the concept, and then when you go home, follow the documentation, which I will provide after I show you the demonstration, and then you should be able to do it by yourself. So my suggestion is not to practice it within these hours. If you try to practice, there is a likely chance that you won't be able to pick up what I am trying to explain to you. There are few components I'm going to explain and talk through as I proceed. So we are all aware about database, right? Are we aware about database where we store data? That's like a simple thing. Yeah. So we have a database. We have a Amazon DynamoDB database, right? And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna store some information here, right? It can be using some tool. It can be using your terminal or whatnot. Think of an user. So I'm going to have an user. So let's say some user. Which one I should pick? Some nice user. I think this user is better, right? So no, let me use something else. Which user I should use? More result. Okay, so think of this user. So this user is want to save some data into the database. There's the goal, okay? There's the basic goal. It's a long process. This user would like to store some data into this database. There are many ways to do it, okay? There are many ways to do it. We are going to use at least 4 or 5 AWS services to get this accomplished. So that as an user, you can insert some data into this database. Or maybe you want to see some data from this database, you can do that. Or maybe you want to delete some data, can you do that as an user, right? Without opening your database. So in order to achieve this, we will use multiple AWS services. So as we proceed gaining this knowledge, I will be breaking down those services. I will be explaining you those services to you. So what you expect at the end of the day, you expect that you will have some clarity, some understanding on at least these few AWS services, what we listed here in earlier yesterday. API Gateway, Lambda, DynamoDB. You will not get S3 here. And also I will talk about a little bit CloudWatch. So at least these 4 services I will try to cover within this demonstration. Are we all in same page?
Yes.
Any question? What we are trying to achieve? It is a fairly easy exercise, okay? The exercise is not complex, but those who are new, never been in AWS, for you, it might be a little bit, the concept wise, it will be a little bit maybe, service wise, you will have to have some familiarization and all that. So that can be a problem, but it is a fairly easy solution. The purpose of building this small solution is to give you some confidence that there is a way to move these puzzles and make something work, right? So think of, you have a big board and all these things are scattered and you just don't know how to set one after other and make it the right. This is actually similar to that, but in a different dimension, right? In a development dimension or in a software engineering dimension. Hope that makes sense. That's what we are trying to achieve. Bilal, you raised your hand. Is there any question?
I did. Should I be on the same screen that you're on right now? I don't. That's not what
do not follow along. Just listen.
Okay. No,
Okay,
but should I have that same layout or no? I should not even be looking at the layout that you have right now because that's not what I have.
Well, what do you mean by layout? Do you mean that?
I think this is a different tool, Bilal. It's
okay, gotcha.
Okay, diagrams.net. Yeah, it's just for diagramming.
Got it. Okay.
It's just a diagram tool. I'm using it to draw the diagrams. I would have done it in some other tools, but again, my strong recommendation is you just sit and watch. If you have a pen and paper, you like to take note, I suggest you take note, but do not follow along because you can follow it. I will give you a clean and clear instructions. By looking at that, you can get it done by half an hour if you follow the instruction properly.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but the goal is next 1.5 hours, you get the concept clear. You get this understanding and have some confidence that, oh, I can, I can fix this puzzle and it works nice. Right? And that's how, as I mentioned in the last class, that we want to grow interest within you to learn cloud computing. And we want to make sure you have a confidence, you gain a confidence out of these, few classes. These few classes cannot make you a full-fledged cloud or DevOps engineer or maybe a cloud engineer, right? It is impossible, virtually impossible, right? If you are not someone extraordinary. So again, so calm down, relax, just watch and prepare your question to ask me. That way you get more clarity. Okay. So coming back to the work, right? What we are trying to achieve, we are trying to achieve a small utility or an application, right, through which you can insert data into in a database and then also get data, delete data, or maybe update data. Are we all clear on that?
Yes.
Okay, so user is you and me. We all are users, right? So Rizbi, did I answer your question that what we will do in GitHub? I can't remember.
Yes,
I answered, right?
I'm crystal clear. I'm following. I've got my notepad here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, so we use heavily, like I personally use in our school heavily GitHub, and it is very impactful. And you will see that you can really communicate, right? And you guys came with a problem today, and there was no proper communication channel. I would say there is WhatsApp, but I think people are not very much used to doing, writing the problems there. So you can write down the comment under here that, hey, I'm doing this and that, and I have these issues, or can someone help me this, right? So you get automatic notifications and whatnot. You can tag me, I can reply. Even I can create a short loom and answer you that question, right? That type of response you can get throughout next few weeks if you are trying to do it by your own. You can expect. I'm not giving a guarantee or assurance, but I'll try my best to respond as I get time. Okay. So coming back to this is what we are trying to build. So let's build a simple stuff, which is database, right? Now, let me tell you what is DynamoDB. DynamoDB is a kind of storage or database, but it is not a SQL database. It is not a structured query language. Like you may have seen something called, SQL language, right? You may have heard a lot. It is not a SQL. It's a NoSQL database. It is unstructured. We can store JSON or different types of documents, JSON type of documents and some other stuff. So it's a little different. Again, this session is not going to teach you how to, to learn about DynamoDB in depth. We will just do the demonstration. We'll create some table and then we'll store some data and things like that. But again, DynamoDB in simple is a database, is a storage, and we're gonna store data there. what are you gonna do here? Then let's go to console. I'm going to go my AWS account. And then, let me do it in your way. So in your case, maybe you will be searching like DynamoDB, like that. Or DDB should also bring this, DDB. Yeah, DDB is a short name of DynamoDB, also will bring this. So you are going to say DynamoDB. Now in DynamoDB, it is actually serverless DB. When I say serverless, I need to explain this thing to you guys, right? So in cloud, there are services where you have to buy you can buy server and then install your application, right? You manage the server. For example, I will show you a service called EC2. It is actually Elastic Cloud Computing. That's why 2C, CC, EC2, Elastic Cloud Computing. So these instances, so these are actually servers. In simple, you can think of different computers. And I'm not sure why these computers are running. They should be turned off. So again, these are different servers or a machine, right? So we bought some machines for some exercise or whatnot. Now, this we name as server, and we can install our application there and we can run, right? Now, there are other services where AWS says that you don't have to really manage the server. We're gonna manage them for you. You are not going to manage the hardware or the computer, or maybe even networking or the security stuff. We will maintain everything. All your job is go do some click, or just do a minimum thing. So you are not dealing with the hardware. You are not maintaining many of the operational load of that service. So in simple, that is serverless. Now, again, serverless doesn't mean there is no server. There are servers, but you are just not managing it. Are we all clear about the word serverless? I will be using this word throughout the session. Okay. No. I'll tell you a small thing which will help me. If you think you are the weakest person in the class, then respond me yes or no. Okay. That way I know the weakest person in the class can pick it up. Okay, when I say weak, I mean never seen this stuff, right? So that way I can move. Otherwise, I will be moving and you will be falling behind. Okay. Thank you, Anwar. So moving ahead. So serverless means you do not maintain the operational burden, right? Like creating servers, like maintaining servers and all that stuff, right? It is a lot of work. You don't do that. And you also do not do a lot of security stuff, which is being taken care of by Amazon Web Services. You also do not maintain the scalability stuff, right? What does it mean, right? So we created a database, and today we have, let's say, 10 gigabytes of storage. Tomorrow, let's say we have 10 millions of records or data, and tomorrow we are going to get 20 million, right? And what will happen usually in the case of server, we have to scale it out. We have to increase our capacity and whatnot. But in this case, we really do not have to do that. Amazon Web Services is going to deal with that. They're going to scale out as we progress, as we start getting more and more storage, right? So that's the few basic difference on serverless and the server. All the services today we are going to use is serverless. Thus, you will have no cost actually. In your free tier account, you should not be charged for these are the few things. If you do, according to the way it is written in the doc, also according to the way I'm explaining you here. So coming back to the database, this is a serverless database. We are going to create a table. Table means you can imagine a place where we store data. Now, if we go back here, we are going to create a table. There are two ways I can do it. So let me make sure I do it the way in the document it is, so that when you do not get some confusion, okay? So let me give a name. There's the table name, okay? I have similar name there because I tested this workshop before I came in here. Wanted to make sure that all is good. Or I can do one thing. Let me delete that one so that, yeah, so I'm going to delete this too. That way I can demonstrate exactly the way written in the document. Create, confirm. It may ask me to clean the data. Okay, so they're going to delete it. Hopefully it will not take so much of time. It's taking unknown. I'll use the same name. Okay, good. It is no more there. Okay, I'm going to create a table with this name. We're going to say partition key. Think of partition key is a way to identify a record. Okay. I wanted to show you guys something here. Is there anyone who don't understand the word record in terms of database?
So partition key would be the same as the primary key in the regular structured table, right? Similar to that.
Yeah, that's right. You're kind of right. You are right. You're fully right. But it is to laymen, those who never been with the tables and the stuff, right? I wanted to make sure they understand this word. Is there anyone who don't understand the word record? I would say, like, if you don't understand, feel free to say, no, I don't understand. What is this?
Yeah, no, I don't understand it. Yeah, what is record?
Yeah, no, I like that because be upfront, honest. Is me being working in my team, right? Being experienced engineer, in a day maybe 5 times I say I don't know this. If I'm in an interaction, and it is extremely important, right? That's how we build a transparent relationship with your engineers, with your coworkers, and everyone, right? Because people knows what you are saying. It is correct. You are not just moving your head saying yes all the time and things like that, because that will not allow you to grow, right? Even sometimes if I know something little, I feel like the other person knows more than me, so I tell in front of him that I think I don't know about it. The reason is I want to listen his perspective or her perspective. That way I can actually gain that other person's knowledge. So that's my way. Again, you can follow or you can avoid. So now coming back to the record, the word record, right? When we say record, let me just, I just brought you guys here. We have 2 columns, right? In this Excel file, we have 2 columns, right? And we have 19 rows. Is that correct? So if we have 19 rows, now if I just only, I'm just cleaning up a little bit. So if I have, like, let's say, if I choose, let's say, if I choose only column, is it like a meaningful information, or it is not a meaningful information? Means someone says this is my GitHub username, right? By looking at that, can I identify who actually owns this?
No.
No, right? Because username can be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. It can be a random string. It can be anything else, right? We may have to understand, in order to understand this complete information, I may need at least email address. That's why I asked them email address. Maybe I would have asked them, okay, give your name too. I just didn't give it because I don't need that. Okay, the purpose I'm requesting this, I don't need your name here. I only need your GitHub username. GSI, please give your GitHub username. This is not a GitHub username. Now coming back to this, right? So when we say record, we actually refer to a complete information, which is nothing but a row in a SQL, in SQL tables. In other words, in NoSQL, it means one item, one complete information. Record means one complete information. Are we all good with that statement?
Yes.
So whenever we say record, we refer to a complete information. So now coming back to this, these are very basic, and I think this is helpful when you start doing this. You just, because these are few words I need to clarify. I'm not going to make you master, but I'm making sure that you are all clear. So now we are going to insert. We're for all these. So let's again go back to this, right? For this record, can I just make this one as an identifier?
No.
Can I just say, what is the identifier? How can I identify that row 6, We can say, hey, go to the GitHub username MBA2241. Then we can find the complete information for record 6, right? Now, same way, in the table, we are going to insert a complete information. But how do we want to identify that information using certain value? Now we are saying that that value is going to be the ID. Thus, here we are saying there is something called partition key in the language of DynamoDB. We say partition key. So partition key is a single identifier for an entire record. Are we good? No?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. All right. In other words, you have ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have all the informations and things like that. So that's all it is. So we said that, partition key is going to be the ID. And then what is the type of the ID? We're saying string. We are not going to use a sort key and whatnot. We will not go in that complexity to explain you this. It is optional. We are not going to use that. In the document I will share to you, it will ask you to use default settings. The document I will share to you, it will ask you to use default settings. But my suggestion is not to use default settings, and because it has some issues. And my suggestion is to use custom settings. Default settings, in long run, if you keep this database, going to cost you some money. And I don't want you to cost money. So I'm going to use something called customize settings. Now, when you go to customize settings, keep everything as it is. Only when you come to read and write capacity, select on demand. Okay. Now I will explain what is read and write capacity. This is a way AWS determines how much they should charge you. If you write a lot, they're gonna charge you a lot. If you write less, they're gonna charge you more, right? So that's why you are gonna choose something called on demand. If I write, you charge me. If I don't write into the database, don't charge me. If I read, charge me. If I don't read, don't charge me. Because this charge is completely based on read and write. Okay, if you write too much, it's gonna charge you according to that. Now, when you say provision, it means that you are telling them that, hey, my read capacity is always, it is auto scaling and whatnot. I'm not like that. That's how it will scale out. But you are saying that my minimum capacity is 1, my maximum capacity is 10, my targeted utilization is 70. In other words, if all this doesn't make sense to you, you don't have to, bang your head. All we are saying that buy a computer with 200 gigabytes of storage. Okay. And that is a fixed price for you. You have to give a fixed price over every month for the 200 gigabytes of the computer, because they are not giving you forever. They're giving you as a rent. So you rented something called 200 gigabytes, and every month you are paying for 200 gigabytes. But very fast month of that month, you are only using maybe 5 megabytes, maybe 2 megabytes, maybe 3 megabytes. And in that case, it is a total waste for you, right? To, that rest of the 98 to 198 gigabytes or 199 gigabytes, whatnot. To save your money, what you are saying that, hey, no, I'm gonna just charge me whatever the storage I'm using, for example, right? That is on demand, right? You may have many services like that, what you are using already. So likewise, when you create a table, DynamoDB table, a serverless table, there is a process where you can say, I will have a fixed read and write capacity. I'm gonna buy a fixed read-write capacity, or in other words, fixed hardware. If I just tell you more detail, or you can say, no, just charge me whatever I use. Thus, I'm going to choose on demand, because by default, it's going to charge you for 5 read and write capacity, which is maybe $1 or so, and in a month, and there is no point for you to spend that. So I hope I have explained the reason of read and write capacity. It is a way they determine how much they're going to charge you. So we are going to choose. Again, recap, we are going to go to customize settings. We're going to say, we are not going to change anything else here. It is standard, let it be. And then we're going to choose on demand. That's it. Now, coming back all the way along down, there is nothing you have to change. You can just go ahead, create table. Okay, the table will be provisioned in few minutes. I'm not gonna check it now. So we'll come back and check later. Meantime, it is 7:50. I think 8:15 is the prayer time. So we'll take break at the time like yesterday, okay? Someone just remind me if I continue doing it and if I forget all that stuff, okay? Oh, the table is ready, okay? So let's go and see how the table looks like. If you go into the table, right, these are general informations. We did on-demand capacity and 1 second. Dear June. Okay, so yeah, we have grade 28 participant. Feel free to ask question, drop message, if something is not clicking in your mind. So again, we said partition key is ID, we said on demand, so looks like everything is nice and easy. And if we go here, explore table items, there is nothing, right? Items means here, items means a record. In this DynamoDB, items means record, a complete information, what we discussed a few minutes ago. I hope you guys are clear on that. Now we do not have anything. Now let's go back to the diagram. Is there any question on DynamoDB before I move into the next phase?
No, bhai, clear.
Syed, no, this is a second session. We had a session yesterday, and we will be having one more session tomorrow, inshallah. Okay. All right. Moving ahead. So what is next? Let's go to the diagram. So now we have DynamoDB, right? I think what we do not have at this stage is we need to have the code to do this work, right? We need to have code or application to do this work. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna use some service which has capability to write into the database. Okay, so we're gonna introduce one more service now. Let me make sure if I will get the recording for first session, that will be helpful. Yeah, sure, you'll get that, don't worry. Okay. So now let's go ahead, and there is a service called, I will explain what is that service, so don't get worried about that. There is a service called Lambda, AWS Lambda function. Which color I should use? This color? Yeah, okay. Someone says yes, so I'm gonna use that color. Okay. And let me just copy this. Okay, there only looks like I'm going it backward, which is okay. I can do also from the beginning, but this is just a process I'm following. In the workshop, the document I will send you, the document also will do same way, that it is a little bit easy maybe for you to follow according to that. Now, second piece of the puzzle is a Lambda function, right? Now, what is Lambda function? Don't worry. In simple, all right. I need the first session recording too. Yes, Tanya, you will get that. You will get it in our YouTube channel, and also we will send you out through email later on when we get all the recording done. And also, if you are already within this GitHub, you have shared your GitHub username here, you will have access to this ticket. We will put it in the ticket comment. So there are different ways you can find it. You can find it in the here. You will find it in our YouTube. You will also find it in our in the, what should I say? Okay. So we'll also send you through email. Can we have YouTube channel link, please? Yeah, sure, Anwar. We'll add you in the GitHub if you have given your name here. Okay. I'll do it sometimes soon. All right. So yeah, it's just not a big channel. It's just a place where we store some stuff. I'm not very active there, but this is the only way we can share things to you guys when publicly. So that's why we have chosen that platform to give you. So here is the channel. Here is the channel where you will be getting that one. Those who didn't join that other workshop we did earlier, like the one we did how to find job, that is here. Or maybe I can keep both of them in the ticket. Videos will be uploaded here. Okay. All right, moving ahead. Where we are in this, right? So let's talk about what is Lambda, right? Before we go all of that, right? So now we need to write a code which has capability to write into the DB. We all agree on that?
Yes.
Any doubt? Is there anyone who has doubt, no matter you been in tech or you never been in tech? Does this make some sense or no? Yes. So we need yeah, why do we need code? Because see, we created a database here. Good question. Ask question. That's great. And you can ask question publicly as well so that your other friends can see. So it's good question. Why do we need database? See, why do we need code, right? So we have this table, right? So in this table, we want to programmatically write the data. We wanted to programmatically write data. Does that make sense? No? Okay. So if you go to any website, right? Let's say if you go to Izaan school website, for example, right? If you go to, for example, anywhere, maybe event or apply or whatnot, right? If you go and send all this information, right? This information comes to our database. Correct? So from this application, it goes to the database. How? Are you doing it?
Using Lambda.
It requires some code, right? Some programmatic means. That's all. It can be anything, right? In this case, all these applications are serverless, right? So you are writing all that. This is actually plain HTML, CSS, or this one is written in Angular or whatnot. Think of it as plain HTML, CSS, and you're giving this input. This input someone need to take this input all the way along to the database. Now there are multiple parties which is helping this input. You can say that, but it may not be a very accurate statement. But again, for this point of time, I will take your statement. Okay, code is the guy who has a capability to write into the database. Okay, that makes sense, Anwar? I think it will make more sense here. Look at this. I can go ahead and say create item. Okay, and I can say the ID is 1234, and then maybe I can say the name. I can say name is Jack. Okay, so I just created a record. Can you see? I created a record with an ID and with a name. Very simple and straightforward. How I did it? Manually, right? But when you come at night, middle of night, and you're trying to apply to Izaan school, who is going to write it into the DB? Someone else needs to do the job, right? That's why we have automation. That's why we have code. Are we good up to here? That's why we need code. Okay. Any questions? I think someone opened their mic. Feel free to ask question. I'm okay to take a question now. No? Okay, good. Great. So let's move on. So again, that's the purpose, because I won't say that it is a means. It is one means, but there are multiple things. So again, someone need to write it into the database, and whatever just now we have done here using this stuff. Now coming back to the code, right? So we'll come back to the code in order to where is that image, right? So we are going to use something called AWS Lambda. What is Lambda? Lambda is it is under compute. If you go to AWS services, and remember yesterday we said compute. Do you see that it is under compute? That means inside this I can run my code. Inside this I can run my code. Again, this is a serverless service. This is a serverless service, right? So what does it means? We don't maintain the hardware. We do not maintain the infrastructure. We do not take care of all that pain. All we go and create some stuff and just use that. We do not take the operational pain actually. Bulk of the operation, there is a small pain we take, but bulk of the operational pain we do not take. So we're gonna use a service through which we should be able to use our code to write into the database. And that service name is AWS Lambda. Are we good up to here? Okay, great. Thank you. Let's move on. So I came to something called AWS Lambda function. Now, again, here we will not write the code because I mentioned in the first class, our goal will not be writing the code. We'll give you the sample code. We can use the sample code and you should be able to connect all the dots. Okay, because understanding one single piece of code is actually multiple classes, right? Understanding one single language if you are not aware about that language. So that's not the goal of this workshop. Now, coming back to here, we are going to go say create function. Function means we are creating that small application or compute system. We can do one thing. We can go ahead, use this same name. I'm trying to make sure that the names coincides with your tutorial, what you will be doing. I will give you a tutorial and then you can use that tutorial to get it accomplished. Now in the tutorial, they will ask you to do, I think, a version 14 or something like that. Node.js version 14 or something. There is no Node.js version 14 because it is already obsolete. It is no more supported by AWS because that workshop is little old. What I am going to use here is actually Node.js 16. So my suggestion, you also can use 16. If you use the default 20, I hasn't tested it. You might end up with some error or problems if those codes are not supported. Most likely it should be fine. There is nothing fancy. But again, I have tested it 16 prior to today's workshop. So it should work. I'm going to choose 16. And here, if you come back, remember yesterday we discussed about role. The human versus machine. We all remember that? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what's gonna happen now, right? Let me go back to the drawing if you guys can remember. Now this lambda, this function, inside this function there will be code. The code is going to write data or items or record inside the database. So this guy, do this guy need permission to write in this database? Yes or no?
Yes.
It is a machine-to-machine communication, right? Within AWS infrastructure, this is a machine-to-machine communication. And this machine, this small component, need access to this. If it requires access to this, what are you gonna do here? We're gonna go back and create a role. We'll give permission to that role so that it can write into the database. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that one done. So it is gonna create a default one. I can create a new role by myself. Okay, so let's say what is the name of the tutorial role? Now here, I'm just creating a new role. It just gives me that option. I can also go ahead and create the same role, not here, in our IAM console. Okay, I can do both. I can create it from here. It's a shortcut. But let's do one thing. In the workshop, you'll find that instructions. For now, let me go to that IAM console and do it there, like the way we did it in yesterday's session. We are going to go to IAM role and create role. So let me cancel it and let me show you guys one more time. Continue, cancel. So I am in the IAM console. I'm in access management and I'm in the roles. Once I go here and I say create role and I say AWS services, which service we should select from here? We are creating this role for which service?
Amazon DynamoDB.
Lambda.
Oh yeah, Lambda. That's correct.
Right? Because the Lambda require permission to write in DynamoDB. DynamoDB is not going to write into the Lambda, right? So DynamoDB has no reverse communication with Lambda. It is actually a one-way communication. It is not one-way, it's two-way, but this guy is not going to write anything here. Or this guy will only give data based on the request this guy makes, right? So this guy require access to this little guy called DynamoDB. So we are creating a role for this guy. So what we're gonna do, let's find out that role icon we used yesterday, that nice little hat, maybe this one. So we need a role. And this is called IAM role. So let me be a little bit more specific. And this role shall have capacity to write, read, delete, update items in DynamoDB. I'll make it nice. 1 second, so that you guys can. Okay, sounds good. A little bit clean, maybe not that much. Okay, give him this hat. Okay, are we good? No? What about those folks, those who never been in AWS, never worked with that? So far, what is your thought? Are you marching with the class, with me, or you are dropped?
I think once getting just doing the tutorial hands-on, that's how I like to learn. But I mean, I'm following you, but once actually putting this into practice, I think it's going to make a lot more sense. So yeah, just observing. It's clicking, I guess.
Yeah, conceptually. Yeah, that's only you need. Conceptually, if you're clear, this document, you can report back to me how many minutes you took to complete. If you follow the documents step by step, because this is everything I'm doing maybe from my brain, right? That's because just I do it, right? That's not like something you are gonna do it by overnight, right? That's fine. But most important, I can clear here is concept, right? And then I give you the resources so that you can go home and practice and then start relating the concept, what we discussed here and what we have demonstrated here. That's the reason I ask you not to try to implement in your end. Rather ask me more questions, put me in trouble. That was my request, right? And here I make request. In my regular class, I don't make request about it. It is a legal ban in my class that people should not practice when I'm taking class. Right?
Yeah, I'll have more questions for you tomorrow for sure. But yeah, I'm following this far.
Okay, great. No, thank you, Bilal. Thank you for following, and make sure that your concepts are clear. So we are now going to go create a role. Okay, that role should have a capacity to write. So we all agreed on that. Let's go ahead and get it done, right? Always try to clear your concept even before you try to do it, because when you try to do it, you are already in trouble because you just don't know what you're trying to do. So ask yourself question: what is DynamoDB before even you try to create it? Spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes time clarifying your thoughts. Okay, now let's go ahead and create it. When you come to the phase of Lambda, ask yourself, what is Lambda? Do I know it? Let's read about it. Let's watch a video. But make sure that you time box it 30 minutes, 20 minutes. Don't jump too much, because to accomplish it, you don't need, too enhanced knowledge. You need just a basic knowledge, right? And then now you know what is Lambda and you know what is role. Just go ahead and implement. That way you learn, right? Okay, moving ahead. So we are where? Oh, where is that IAM role? Did we start creating IAM role? Oh, yeah, here, right? So we all agreed that we will create a role for Lambda, and then we're going to say next. And then I think there is a role call. Let me check. There is a default role that workshop will ask you to do, ask you to create. I can create a default permission to do that. Also, that is also not a big deal. Let me just make sure that I don't put you guys in trouble. Yeah, it's called simple microservices role. There is simple. Why don't I see that? Just create. Let me create. I'm going a little bit beyond the workshop, instructions which you will follow, but I will just do it a little extra so that I can show you one more extra things. Okay, I'm going to create add permissions, right? Instead of these permissions, I'm going to create a custom permission. Okay, stay with me a few minutes. IAM role Lambda. I'm going to say create. Okay, role Austin workshop. Okay. So when I create this role, does this role has any permission? Is there any permissions under permissions? No, right? We'll keep it like that. As I said, the document is more easy. I'm doing it just to make, give you some more interesting things. So I'm going to choose this. I'm going to copy this name. I'm going to go back to that Lambda. In this case, I'm going to say use an existing role because we just created the role, right? And let me search the one which I just now created. Does it have any permission? Does this role have any?
So just a quick question. So the visibility of that role is just to onto your account, or is it global, available to anyone once you have created it?
No, this is called custom role. It is your property. That means it will be only available in your account.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
So like as you have created over here, just for the demo purpose, like if we have to create it on our account as well, right? The same thing.
Yes, all of these actions you will have to do at your account. Okay. We are good. All right. So let's go ahead, say create function. So we just created function and it has some sample code. I will replace this sample code. You see there is one file called index.js. As soon as you create this, there is a small code editor. So you can actually write code here, but in real world, we really don't write code here. We do write code in the console, in our IDE and whatnot. But what are we gonna do? We're gonna remove this code with the sample code, which we will share. I will share the document after this, so you will find that code there. I'm just replacing this code, right? To explain this code, there are like just very few things. I'll come back, maybe walk you through what this code does. A very simple work it does. It's a very, very simple code, nothing complex here. We can talk about this later on. We have created a code. We're going to deploy the code here. Now, our job is half done. Our job is half done. What does it mean? Let's go back to the drawing. So we are actually done with this, right? But did we give proper permission to this role?
Technically, we have not given any permissions to that.
We hasn't given any permission, right? So I wanted to fail first and show you the problem and then come back and fix it. How about that?
Yeah, just a time check. We are almost at 8:30, so
yeah,
we
2
will just
more
go
minutes,
through.
right? Okay, all right. So let's continue 2 more minutes and then maybe we can drop. So we have made a good progress as of now. We need 1 more components to be created here. Then we should be able to test it. See, all this is actually around 10 to 12 minutes work, honestly speaking. It's not even 10 minutes work when you get to know how to do that, right? But here I have to make sure you don't get dropped out of the class because you just never did in AWS, right? As I said, I need to make sure you find it is doable. As long as you find a confidence that it is doable, you will try at home. If you find it is not doable, you will not try. So we don't achieve the goal, right? The biggest goal of us, I think, is to remove that entry barrier from you, give you enough encouragement and confidence that no, this is something I can play around. This is something I can experiment and looks like I'm interested in, right? So coming back to that next point, I'll just put a next drawing piece here. So now this code, I want to ask you guys a question, right? Can you access this code, whatever you see here? There is a way to do it, but technically there is, let's say this code, you cannot directly communicate to this from your website. My statement is false. Okay, what I said, it is not true. It is not fully true. It is half true. Okay, but I will not explain you there is a different way we can communicate to this directly from the website. But for the sake of this demonstration, I'm saying that there is no way to communicate to this one directly from the website. Are we good up to here? Okay. If we are good up to here, we'll go for break. Maybe I'll give a little bit further example and clarifications that what I'm trying to mean. There is a missing piece. We are going to fix that missing piece. So puzzle will be done. We'll start testing it. Okay. So as it is already 8:15, we'll take a break, 10 to 15 minutes. So I will be here at 25. So 25 to 35 minutes time. You can come back and ask me question at that time. And at sharp 8:30 Central Time, we will resume our session. 8:30 Central Time, we'll resume our session, but I will be here at 8:25 to answer your question. See you. Hey guys, first session, kindly share the link for yesterday and today's session or YouTube link, please. Yeah, share Rizvi. Guys, I'm here. If you have any question, please feel free to ask me any question you have.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
For GitHub, right? Following your video, right? If you're gonna share the link, right? So we have to create a project for this workshop, like go along with you or whatever. Like I have some experience with AWS, but that was a different kind of experience than the one we are doing over here, right?
Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to get expectation is, I think you were asking that what you will be doing right after this. The expectation is simple. I think you can follow along this workshop with the instructions we will be providing, and then maybe seek questions, right? Ask suggestion, or maybe you are stuck in something, like grow your interest on learning AWS stuff, right? Seeking guidance and whatnot, whatever the means we can help you out on this, right? And I'm trying to keep this GitHub project here available for you and also to give you access here, because that way we can keep track of this conversation, right? If that makes sense.
With the GitHub, right? I created the account with the GitHub, but how do we connect with you? Like I'm not familiar with the GitHub, I've never like.
Yeah, no issues. Just check your email. There is already, I have sent an invitation to you and other folks. I'm going to send it now or maybe sometimes later, or I will ask my team to do it. So by tomorrow you will have some. Now you already have access because it is public. The link is public, but we will make this project private by as soon as we can give you access to all of you, right? Those 18-20 people shared their ID, and tomorrow we can clarify that. If you have problem with the access, we can clarify that. Make sense? So for the long-term things, we wanted to make sure we secured the project, and also you can communicate with us through that GitHub project and give your status updates and whatnot. So we have some good track of information instead of having it in a messengers and chats and here there, right? Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, just trying to be a little bit more organized.
So instead of using other platform, right? You use Lambda. Why did you use Lambda?
So yeah, there are many other options, right? We are not chasing behind all the options for sure, right? The goal is like to get something done here. right, to show you some activities. This requires minimum effort. That's the reason we are showing it in the workshop. Now, if you ask a question that, hey, Jahidul, why do you do it in a real world? If that is the question, the answer will be different. Is this the question?
So my question is, is the Lambda is the platform, right? We are using for creating a database, right?
To write our code there, right? To use
Right.
to deploy our application there.
In service, right? So,
Mhm.
so why are you using Lambda instead of anything else, right? Is there any other services available that we
Yeah, there
can?
are many other options. There are many other options I can achieve the same goal, right? There are two answers of this question, which I just now mentioned. The number one answer is, for the purpose of this workshop, we choose something what everyone can follow. Okay. So that's number one reason why we choose this one for this particular workshop. Number two, why we use Lambda for this type of cases in a real world, that is a deeper and detailed question. Okay. And that has many reasons, right? I will give you a few reasons. Lambda does have very low maintenance effort. If you run a server, like the EC2 instance, Elastic Cloud Compute instance, you have to take some ownership of maintenance and some ownership of security. And it is expensive because it is just same as renting a physical computer from a store. You are giving for the computer whether you use, or you are giving money for the computer whether you use or whether you do not use, right? You keep giving that money from wherever you rented it, like your washer and dryer, right? But if you go to the store, washer and dryer store, you actually don't rent the entire machine for entire month. You rent it only for the work you do, right? And the Lambda is actually that kind of service, right? You have two options. You can rent the entire washing machine in your house and then give a rent every month, $50, or you can go to the you can go to that shop and then maybe do 1 to 5 times wash in a month or whatever it is, or a week. Just pay for it, maybe $10 or $15, instead of you are saving now $45 or $40. Does that make some sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
That's one reason. And another reason, sorry, go ahead.
You pay as you go.
Yeah, pay as you go, low maintenance cost. It is extremely cheap. It is highly scalable. It has limitations too. We didn't talk about the limitations. It has limitations. Not every, like, for example, writing into database, it may take few seconds or maybe few milliseconds. Imagine a job which takes 20 minutes to execute. Lambda is not the right place to deploy it. If this writing work would have taken 20 minutes, right? Then we would not have chosen this service, because this service has a limitation of running maximum 15 minutes. It can run in a single invocation 15 minutes. So imagine you are generating some bank statement at night, 12 o'clock, right? All these big banks, they send you statements in whatever the date you choose, right? At that date, they are not only generating one person's statement, they are generating hundreds and hundreds of people's statement, right? So those jobs can be very much time consuming. How do they run those jobs? They cannot really choose something Lambda. Maybe they can. I'm just giving an example. Okay, they can tweak and do whatnot they want to do. There are many ways we can reduce those stuff. But again, in simple, if something is running more than 15 minutes, Lambda is not the right candidate. Okay, so I just shared two simple example, two simple information. So it is 8:32. I'm expecting everyone is here. Those who just joined, do you have any question from the previous section? No? Yes? So I'm adding you folks in a team called GitHub team. Please check your what should I say? Check your account or your email. I'm gonna share my screen and do this job next 5 minutes, so that we have everyone on board in that GitHub. So here is that. Sorry, not this. As of now, I think I added 4 of you from the top list. I think I added up to Abdul 3690. I'm adding now this person in a team. So you should see a notification there in your GitHub account or in your email. I forgot exactly where it will go. First check your email. You should see something and it will ask you to accept. You'll see.
Hey, this is Adnan Raja. I joined late, so I'm not on the list. Can you please add me?
Yeah, so I'm going to share the link here right now.
Oh.
Yeah, the link is here in the chat. If you scroll somewhere in the chat.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You got it? Yeah, you can just add there. Okay. Meantime, if you have questions while I'm doing it, I will answer your question. Okay. No question?
And no question. Actually, I don't see the link because I joined late, so it doesn't show that in the chat.
Okay.
Can you just paste the
issues.
link again?
No issues. Give me a second. I will share you the link.
Thank you.
And again, the Zoom chat. I hate Zoom. Okay, meeting to the group. Okay, I just shared the link. All right. So, anyone else? Any other question? I wanted to maximize my time by answering your question.
Jahid, could you add me? I just pasted it in the chat box. My GitHub email.
In the chat box, I think I added you already. Yeah, but
I don't see my email here.
Yeah, so just edit in that file.
List.
The file I just shared. So it's
Okay.
everyone writing there. You can share there.
Sure.
Okay. You got this name. How did you get this name? Code Python learn. Okay, I'm in 11. And I still see the members that pending. Okay. Maybe I have to refresh. You have to accept it. If you do not accept it, we won't be able to help you out. I still see you guys are pending. I really do not have to do this hard work. I want to make sure you guys can document your work, communicate. Okay, looks like some of you are accepting it, which is good. Those who have accepted it, can you confirm that? Why did you get the notification? I every time forget. Is it in the email or is it in your account?
I get the email.
Okay, so you other folks, please check your email, whatever the email you use to create your GitHub account.
I have not gotten an email yet.
Just check where I am at this point. If you are after 18th, then that means you will not get. I am on 19th now.
Yeah, so I can see that invitation in GitHub. So if anyone is a little familiar with GitHub, you have to navigate the path to the Izaan school. There you would see on the top that particular invitation coming in.
Yeah, it also should go to the email address that GitHub email people has used. Okay. Did you get this name Sajid? Really?
Okay, I just got the email.
Yeah, okay. How did you get this name, Sajid? This name should have been taken by this time. Or it's maybe very old account. Okay, I reached to the 25th, okay? If anyone else is adding after 25th, please let me know. I am gonna do some small changes here. Settings, manage access. I'm gonna add a team. Sorry. Workshop. Yeah. Can add and make changes to this project. Okay. Invite. And I'm gonna make this project shortly private. So only those who has saved, given your informations here, you will be able to access this. Other folks will have trouble to access it. So please make sure you can access this. I need to go to the repositories, AWS workshop, settings. Okay. Type confirm, type the number of stars in this repository. Really? Okay, good. So moving ahead, we are going to go to the work. Just let me know if you add something new. I think 25th, we have everyone onboarded. As long as you have accepted, still looks like few of you are still pending. You will not, 7 of them are pending. You will have difficulties to access this link. Just to make a last check, I'm sharing this GitHub link, the ticket link. Make sure that all of you can hit this link and see this link. That will prove that you have access. If not, just check your access control, check your email to accept the invitation. All right, I'm gonna move ahead to the next step. We can deal with the access later on as well. No problem. So coming back to this. So let's go ahead and create the next piece of the puzzle, which is nothing but second piece, right? We're gonna create something called HTTP API, right? Now, from here, like we have code, we have our code. Are we all settled? Are we all good at this point? So we covered on database, we covered, where the application will run. We determined that application will run in Lambda. Lambda is what? Lambda is a serverless service from AWS. This serverless service, okay, Melissa. Yeah, give me maybe a few minutes. We will try to deal with that access maybe after 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Okay. We'll have some, after that explanations, we'll work with that. We will fix it. Don't worry. Okay. We'll fix it. Maybe I know what is the problem. Let me just try to quickly fix that if I can. 1 second. So collaborators, add team. Read, write. Okay. Can you try to hit now? Oh, what it says? Okay, good job. We solved the problem. Let's move ahead. Okay, thank you, guys. So as 2 of you can access, others should be fine, as long as you accept the invitation, right? Moving ahead, where should we go? Okay, the next piece, right? Now, again, before we jump into how to get it done, let's make sure that we all are in the same page. So we have all of this in our AWS account. Any doubt? We have all of this in our AWS account. Is there anyone who has this doubt that no, it is not in our AWS account, it is somewhere else? All this infrastructure, where is this? inside our AWS account. Any doubt? Guys, someone need to clarify so that I can, I find, you are following me. So all of these in AWS account, right? And user, being an user, are you in AWS account or you are outside AWS account? I'm sitting here.
I think outside.
Yeah, I'm sitting here. You are sitting at your home.
No.
You are not in Northern Virginia, right? You are technically not in Northern Virginia until unless you log in, correct? Now, what I'm trying to mean, when I go to izaanschool.com website, am I in Northern Virginia or I am sitting at my home in my computer in my browser?
Sitting at home.
You are sitting at home in your computer in your browser. You are not in Northern Virginia. You are not inside AWS account like this. This one is I'm inside AWS account, right? So that's something we can say. But when we go to izaanschool.com, we are not in Northern Virginia. We are not inside AWS account. We are just at our home in our computer, right? Now, as an user, you're going to give input, Mr. John, Jack, your phone number, your email, and whatnot, and then you're going to say next, which is actually send us information to our database. Okay. Now, let's come back here. We defined in our, in our picture, we defined this is the guy who can hold things, store things. This is the guy who has a capability to programmatically write inside the database the items or records you are going to write. Correct? This little guy has a capability. If you ask him, you have to ask him to write. It cannot work. Like, for example, we created this Lambda function, right? We created it already. It is running, actually. Not it is running. It is already there. Is there any record in our database? This one I created a few minutes ago, right? Manually in front of you guys. Is there any new record came in? No, right?
No.
So why? We already created an application which is capable of writing, data inside the database, which is our Lambda function. So why it is unable to, why we are not seeing any data? Because why? Simple, right? Because the user is not giving any input, right? The user need to ask this guy that, hey, go write this record into the database. Who's gonna say? User, right? Now, the fact is user is sitting at home in their computer browser. So someone from outside world need to communicate within AWS, whatever we say, AWS network, AWS account, whatever. I just don't want to use the right term here. How do we do it? Right? How do we do it? What is the process? Right? Now, thing is that, as you know, there are securities and there are a lot of stuff, right? So we're going to introduce an intermediate person who going to carry our information from the browser, which is this, from the browser from the browser to the code. We need a messenger. Okay? We need a messenger. So now that messenger is nothing but another AWS service. Okay? We are going to create one more AWS service. Let's make it a little bit nice. Yeah, Melissa, thank you that you checked actually. I just didn't give a permission in one place. I gave in one place. I had to give two places. I need to go find out a messenger. This messenger name is API Gateway. Okay. Now, those who are very new in the world of development or cloud and whatnot, please go read what is API. What is API, right? There are very nice examples, but here I'm talking about messenger, and you can take it that way. We will give him a message. He will carry this message all the way along to this guy called Lambda. Are we good up to here? Any doubt? No? you can read about what is API, because all this we are doing here, it has fundamentals. In this class, we are not talking about fundamentals. You need to understand that. We are just talking about implementation. I'm talking about fundamentals a very bit, but the API itself will take me few classes to explain. DynamoDB itself will take few classes to talk about what is NoSQL, how it works, and there are more internal things to talk. There are also a lot of things to talk about this. I'm talking about fundamentals, right? Here, we are just trying to take a piece of puzzle and fix one by one and make it work. That's all our job here. Okay, so now we just brought this guy. He's a messenger user from that web application, or in our case, it will be from our terminal, right? In your computer, you have terminal. So we will use our terminal to communicate. There are many ways to communicate. Even from the browser, you can communicate. We will see how we can communicate. In simple, user from his or her computer or from their computer going to send this message to this little guy called API gateway. It is again another AWS service going to say, hey, I have this record or this message. Can you carry it all the way along to this guy and ask him to process? Ask him to process. What process it will do? If you ask him to insert into DB, it will insert. If you ask him to delete, it is going to delete the record from the DB. If you ask him to update, it's going to update that information from your DB, inside your DB. Does that make sense? Are we all good? Bad? Sad?
It's good.
Okay, so are we all clear about the purpose of this messenger and the service name API gateway? Conceptually.
Yes.
Okay, good. See, all this service requires a lot of time to understand nitty-gritty details, right? For now, you don't need to, honestly speaking. For now, you need to understand why we are using it, how we are putting the puzzle, and why you are doing it. You need to get this few answer inside the class. Sajid, looks like your GitHub username is not the right one. So give your GitHub username again. If you hasn't accepted the access, that also can cause the problem. So just make sure that you check that. And we can come back and check after a few minutes once I finish this part, okay? Once I finish this, I can come back and check what happened with your one. Yeah, so looks like you didn't accept the invitation. We have sent you invitation. Look at your email and you have to accept it. It is still pending. And we can come back and show you if you really cannot fix that. So now we know the purpose. All our job is to go ahead and get it done following some instructions. I will give you the instructions at the end of the class, but I will just demonstrate it with you all the way along and then we will test it. That's the last piece of the puzzle. Okay, if you don't have any question, Jahidul is moving ahead. Did we create the table? We did create the table, right? Was it okay. Leave. Now we are going to use AWS API Gateway. If you just search by API, we'll go to API Gateway. So API Gateway is a messenger service. Honestly not. It says API service, okay? In old days, you will have to write a lot of code just to build this piece. But now AWS says, hey, I'm going to give you ready-made. You just create something in our platform. We will take care of bulk of the load. It is again a serverless service. We don't manage the server. Okay. It is a very powerful service. It is highly used. It has a robust capacity to deal with informations. It is a very, very popular service in AWS. Okay. So far, any question for me before I start doing it?
Yeah, just for clarification purpose, again, all these APIs are respective to a particular individual's account, whatever APIs you are creating, right? It would be only visible within that specific account. For example, right now it is just visible under Jahidul Islam _dev, right?
Right. So again, it is just think of this way. That will make your life very easy, right? So let's say you are a data center owner. Okay, you are a owner of a data center. So any server you create, any networking device you create, who owns, you or I? You own, right?
Yeah.
Exactly same. When we buy an AWS account, technically we bought our own data center, but it is virtual. We don't deal with the physical things. We do it programmatically. I hope that makes sense, right? Okay, this is our own data center.
Can we make a AWS account by ourselves? And where we have to go to make the account?
Yeah, Tanya, sure. If you follow this link has instructions. Here it has instructions. We discussed about it yesterday. AWS free tier documentation, AWS free account. So if you follow these few links, you should be able to create this one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just make sure that you have access to this. Coming back to this, if you don't have any questions, let me go jump into, looks like everyone understands what is API. So I'm going to go and create API. So I'm going to choose HTTP API. You do not have to remember, you do not have to write these steps. It is already there documented. I will share you that documentation. Build. I'm going to give a name. What was the name we gave for the table? Okay, tutorials. Austin workshop API, just for me, because the name has to be meaningful usually, but for me, just to, for the purpose of identification, later on I need to clean it up. I'm going to say next. I'm going to say next. I'm not going to create those routes or anything now. I'm going to say next. I'm going to keep it default. I'm going to say next, and I'm going to say create. Okay. Once I create this, I'm going to create few things here. I will have to follow this documentation they have provided so that we do not, run into each other. Means I make sure that I'm showing you what you will be doing by your own. Let me go and find out few things here. So we wanted to do few things, right? Number one, we wanted to create a record. Okay. Let me write it here so that everyone is in same page. So we need to create a record. We need to create an item/record. Okay, we need to create an item. We also should be able to, oh gosh, view an item. There should be a number option. Let me check. Is there any number option? Yeah, there is a number option. Okay. Yeah, looks like we'll be hitting little 15 minutes over from the scheduled time. So I hope this is okay with you guys. If not, you will have to catch up with the recording. View an item. And then what else we wanted to do? Maybe update an item. Maybe also we wanted to delete item. Also, what we want to do, maybe we want to see or view, see, or get all the items. Is it a fair statement? Are you all good on this? It is a very regular use case, right? I'm trying to make sure that we all understand what we are talking here. Okay, we want to do these few things here. That's it. Is there any way to squeeze this guy? I don't see any option to squeeze. I hope we are good here. Where can we access the recording for today and yesterday? Yeah, as we mentioned, you will find the recording under this ticket. You'll find the recording in the YouTube channel. So if you hit that YouTube channel, that can help also. That's the fastest way to get notified. After that, we will have to actually send it through your email. If you really do not check our YouTube channel, you do not want to follow. So yes, sure. You will, we can. I will add this one in the ticket. Every little information, we will be adding into the ticket. So make sure you have access to the ticket. Okay, all right. So moving ahead, where we are in the API gateway. What I was doing, guys, I was writing what we will do, right? Is there anything else you can think of you want to do with this data? Anything else?
Delete all records.
Yeah, that can be an option. But in this code, we didn't implement that. Okay. That can be a good idea, but we didn't implement it. Anything else we can think? Actually, these are a few things we want to do, right? We wanted to create, we wanted to view, we wanted to update and delete, right? View or retrieve, right? That's how the word crude came, right? It's called crude. What is the retrieve spelling? Can someone help me with my poor English? No?
Just E is missing before V.
Before V instead of I is E?
No, I should be there, but you have to add it. Yeah. That's fine.
Okay, thank you for helping me on this. Okay, all right. So now what do? We just go ahead and get all this accomplished. Okay, so how do we do it? Let's go ahead. We created an API, but there is no route. What route means here? See, if we wanted to create, this is one type of work. If we want to delete, it is a different type of work. If we wanted to update, it is a different type of work, right? So in order to make sure that you channel like this API gateway, because it's a messenger, right? It needs to distribute the message in a right place, correct? Think of like mails, right? All the mail from other state, it coming to a central hub in, let's say, Dallas area for the Dallas people, right? Inside Dallas or inside Austin, there are maybe 10, 20, 30 more post offices. Now that central hub is now need to distribute those mails to the right place, correct? Based on what? Based on the level or instructions written in those email, right? Do we all follow? No?
Yes.
So our central hub is nothing but this API. So we are going to send all the messages to the API, whether it is create, whether it is retrieve, whether it is update, whether it is delete, whether it is view all of them, get all of them, whatnot. But this guy is now responsible to route this information in a right channel, because he has to inform this guy that, hey, someone has requested to update record A, B, C, D. Someone has requested to insert a new record. Someone has requested to update a record. So these are different activities. So now we have created the central hub already. Now we have to make sure we do create those routes or proper channel. Are we good? Yes, good. No, bad.
Yeah, Jahidul bhai. So here I think we have all these components. Now we are, basically defining, a route. Basically, whose job is what to do and what, how the flow, like how the flow goes. Like, you tell the API to, carry this information and feed it to Lambda, and then Lambda will run the code, and then its job is to, update into the DynamoDB. So
yeah, you're right. Do you have any question on that? Like any clarifying question on that?
yeah, so you said like route, right? So now we are defining the route in the API gateway, right?
Yes, we are defining route in the API gateway, right? In the API gateway, we are now going to say, hey, if there is a create, go ahead, trigger this Lambda. Take this message called create, take this message called get, take this message called delete to the Lambda. From this API gateway, we can reroute to hundreds of Lambda. Just to give you a clarity, not only one Lambda. I can have few Lambda here. I can route this traffic to more Lambdas. But for the simplification of this exercise, we will be only routing to how many? 1. But that one will serve all our requests, right? Are you guys following me what I'm saying? I don't want to make things complicated at this point. I want to keep it simple. Okay. So we can distribute it in many places, but in this case, we will distribute to only one, but different actions and activities. Okay. We are good? Give me a signal so that I can move ahead.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. All right. So let's go ahead, create the routes. We said create. There should be a route call. So we are going to insert the data. So I can do it by my own, but I wanted to make sure I do it according to the instructions it is there so that you guys also do not get confused when you do it. You follow the way I'm doing it. Give me a second. Create routes. Yes, it should be get items and whatnot. Okay. So 1 second. It will be. Okay. So we are going to create something called get. So we wanted to get all the items based on the ID. Okay. Remember the ID we have defined in the partition key in the DV. We said from the DV, I'm going to give you an ID value. We'll see how we pass it in a testing phase. So I'm going to say create, right? And then I need to create something called items. I have items already. I need to create an item. 1 second. So I need to create one more route called only items because I wanted to get all the items. It will be a get request. I'm going to say create. And then I need to create something called delete. I wanted to delete items. So I'm going to say delete items. So I'm going to select the action called delete. And I'm going to, again, guys, I wanted to give you a clarity. The understanding REST APIs is a further long few classes, right? We do run at least 3 or 4 classes just to give you API understanding. So I'm not going into that fundamental discussion, which will not help me to finish the exercise. But I have given like at least a high level information so that you understand what is API gateway. It's a messenger. It listens to informations and carry it to the second person. In this case, it is Lambda. Okay, so that you at least find that you are not doing something dumb, just like blindly following. Is this helpful or no? This question is to those who are absolutely new. Create. So we have created all our preferred routes. Okay, we will move into the next stage. Okay. We'll go to the next stage, which is nothing but integration. Now, as of now, in this API gateway, in this messenger, is there any way we have made this connection? Or this connection is still there, not there? Think and answer.
It's not.
We don't make any connection yet.
So in the API gateway, nowhere we hasn't defined anywhere that go talk to Lambda. We all agree on this? No? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. If you all agree on this, now our next job is to integrate, to make a connection, to make a bridge, right? Between, so we go to integration, we select this item, put, let me just verify one thing before I jump. Create API, get routes, it should be get to, items put get ID, delete get, I think that's perfect. Get put, get delete. I think we are good. We are in a good hand. Now let's go ahead and integration, right? So we said for the put, right? For these items, we wanted to put something which is actually insert, create and attach integration. Actually, let me go here, say manage integration. In manage integration, we're going to say create. We're going to say, we want to integrate API gateway with Lambda function. And remember which region we have created our Lambda? We discussed about region in last class, right? Northern Virginia. US East 1, right? Our Lambda is created in Northern Virginia, US East 1. Any doubt on this? If you go to Lambda, you will find this information somewhere. There will be details, okay? You'll find it somewhere here. And also you can see it is under Northern Virginia. That is more easy way to see, but there should be some other general information. It is there. Okay.
Yeah, it's there on the right, Jahidul bhai. Under function ARN, AWS Lambda US East 1. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I didn't explain people what is ARN, so that's why I wanted to avoid that one.
No, I'm just showing the location where.
Yeah, no, thank you. This is helpful. So that's called function ARN. So I was trying to avoid the word ARN. That's all I was trying to say. So ARN means application resource name. What does it mean? Is an unique ID for anything you create here. Anything you create within your AWS account, there will be an unique ID. It's called function ARN. Okay. Again, here also you can see it is in US East 1, and this is your AWS account where you created, and there's the name. Okay. Again, you can just look up what is AWS ARN application, and resource ARN, you'll find out. Now we know it is in AWS East 1, and it is there, and we just need to now look up the name, right? And if you look up the name, I think the name is this one, HTTP crew tutorial URLs. This one, right? If you wanted to be very sure, you can copy this, go here, remove it. Now I want to do a trick here. Let's say I'm going to choose EU Central. Do you think I can find out that Lambda? It is not there, right? Invalid Lambda functions or Lambda function ARN, because we didn't, EU Central is in Europe. We didn't deploy it there. We deployed it in US East 1. So we have to make sure we go to the right geographical location, which is region. So now here, again, we'll find our one, root tutorials items. And then you can write some optional descriptions, what type of mitigation is this, whatnot. I'm not gonna, I don't have to do it now. It's optional. So I'm going to say create.
Hey, one question over here, Jahidul.
Sure.
So the visibility of this particular API, would it be of that particular Lambda function would be just to this particular API? What I mean to say that although we select that particular region, is it through this account that I'm coming that I would be able to see that, or any other person who would be able to see that if he selects an integration point and selects that particular region?
I'm trying to understand the question.
Yeah. So I know it just got complicated.
No, I'll say the question, repeat that. I'll tell you what I understood. Then you can clarify me that how much I'm correct and how much not.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying that Jahidul has created this one, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now let's say you are also user of this account.
Yeah.
Are you saying that will I have the visibility to see this? Is this the question?
Yes. Or like if I have my own account and I select when I'm creating this API integration point, and I go and select US East 1, would I still see yours or no?
No, you will never see what I have, right? I think that was the example I gave earlier to some of you, that if I have my own data center, this access is only to me unless I bring you here, right? So it is within my account, and it will be forever within my account. You won't be able to see this one unless I make an arrangement. There is a way to make an arrangement so that you can see from other account. It's called cross-account access. It's a little bit complicated things to discuss here, but yes, that we can do. But in a standard world, unless I give you that access, you won't be able to access from your account what I have.
Yeah, and I know I'm stretching it a little bit.
No, it's fine.
If I had been a user of your account, let's say you were the root user, right, and you had created me and given me that particular account to access, as we saw in the IAM in the first part of this particular lecture, right? So at that point in time, if I am creating within my account, being a sub-user of or kind of we have been created by you, then would I have been able to see it, or you would have given the policy?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just cutting you off. I got your question. So yes, you should be able to see as long as you have access to API gateway and Lambda these services. Because in the permission we define what you can see, what you cannot see. Remember yesterday we created a permission for I think for Abdul Qadir. I'm not sure Abdul Qadir you are here
Yeah.
today or not.
Update password after
Yeah,
login.
so we only gave him access to be capable to update the password. So he was not able to see billing and any other services. And Abdul Qadir, you still have access. You can check that you will
Yes.
not have any access like that, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. That answers my question. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. Why this is happening? Okay. Anyway, now, no, sorry, not you. I see there is some problem in my place. So, I answered the question. We just defined it, but still it is not done. Okay. So if we go here, attach integration route. Now here we already said that there is an integration for me. So I need to go here and say that attach this integration with this put request. So I'm going to say attach. So now it is actually attached with this request. Whenever we make a request called put, that give me the items, or sorry, put the items, whatever we wanted to put inside the database is going to now trigger that Lambda, right? Lambda is a on demand or on request basis service. It is always sleeping. It is a lazy bum. You have to ask him, hey, do this. They will do. If you don't ask, he will never do anything. In other words, in a good term, it says it's an event-driven application. So if you if you want to get some job done, you have to make sure that you make some event, you do some activities with him. So you have to ask him to do. That's all about Lambda. It's always sleeping. Just get that one in your brain properly. So that's how you save money, right? Because if it is all the time sleeping, so only whenever you need, you ask him to wake up, do my job, and again sleep. It will go for again sleep state. So we are going to I'm using as much as possible the regular terms so that you just don't get lost. You can relate with what you know in your regular world, but still achieve the goal, right? The goal is to deliver this and make sure that we grow some interest within you and some confidence.
Yeah, Jahidul bhai, Abdul Qadir here. So,
Yes,
like you said, Lambda is event driven. So you showed in the Dynamo Amazon database, DynamoDB, you showed that there is a cost involved in reading and writing. So do you also have cost involved in AWS Lambda whenever it is triggered? Is there a
Yeah,
cost?
there is cost involved, right? So there is cost involved. You can use something called AWS cost calculator. AWS cost calculator. It is very easy to
Yeah, I mean,
I will explain what is the cost. Okay, just give me a second. I want to leave this reference with you so that you can use this one later on. You can go use this cost calculator. It doesn't require AWS account, and you can choose, like, for example, you can choose the regions. So you can say Lambda. You can say configure. Whatever you can configure here, and you can say I'm going to make 1,000 requests, right? Per month, and maybe the duration of each request is 30 milliseconds, let's say, or maybe 100 milliseconds. Okay. Now, rest of the things you can leave amount of memory allocated. Maybe you can allocate maybe what are the numbers available? Let me check.
So just for practice also, in order to just make this project, so does we for just even
it will
one
not
or
cost
two,
you money, okay?
just okay, just
short
for
summary, it is not going to cost you money. There is a free tier numbers. I think it is 1 million requests or something like that. So you are not going to cost money. With these infrastructures, there will be almost nothing you will be paying actually. That is the reason to use this. But I'm just showing you one very practical way of identifying the numbers. See, there is 0, right? I said I'm going to make 1,000 requests every day, and it says that, okay, what the heck you are doing? I'm not going to bill you. It is that cheap service, but highly effective service.
Okay.
Since 2019, I'm designing all my application by my own from the time when I started learning how to code on Lambda. So any applications you see what we maintain, like our school applications, and we have previously some other applications, these are all under all the dynamic part we do by Lambda.
Okay. Thank you.
So again, that is a different story, but it is very, very cheap. You are not going to be charged here. Okay. So we already connected. We did our work. Now, what is next? Do you know? Next is to test, okay? Next is to test. I'm going to use the document where we have these informations that how to test. I'm going to now take this document in front of you. I wanted to make sure that you understand this document. I'm going to test it. All I'm going to do, there are a few things which I can do. Actually, let's do it together. Okay, so let me go here and let me go here and where is this? HTTP. Okay, test your app.
Did you deploy it?
It is already there on the default. Okay, so let's find out this. We can also deploy in some other stage. Again, I just don't want to introduce those discussion of stage and all that. I'm trying to find where is the stage. Okay, let me go stage, default. Okay, so I went to stages and then default. Again, I'm not going into the discussion of stage. It's just like a little bit deeper discussions. I think I don't want to introduce that discussion here. So now you have this URL. If I now use this URL and go to the routes, there is an items get, right? So if I go to the browser and say /items, just I say this, what do you see here? There will be a problem, right? And I think we all know what is this problem. Do we know what is this problem? Can we read? The assume role, this guy is not authorized to perform DynamoDB scan action. Is this expected or unexpected?
Expected, because you have not given role permissions to AWS Lambda to access DynamoDB.
Yeah, sure. Yes, Sajid will do. Yes, so we this is expected, right? So one thing I always suggest people, right? You should be able to predict what problem you are going to face. You should be able to predict what you are doing, right? What outcome you are expecting. Even you are not a master, you should have that prediction. You should practice that prediction. Why? That prediction will build your confidence that you are doing it right. Okay, it might be a problem, which is fine. You expect this problem, right? And then you see the problem, you say fix it. But if you expect a success, make sure that you be able to predict that step by step. Do not predict step 40 when you are in step 1. When in step 1, do step 2, only predict step 2. When you are in step 2, predict step 3. Do not predict step 20 or 30 or 40. That's going to ruin your mental energy. That is why you have seen from the beginning, I started step-by-step work, right? I didn't discuss all this stuff, right? So again, I hope that is clear to you. And we just established a connection, but there is a problem in the connection, right? So we're going to fix that connection problem, right? Let's go find out this. Where is that? Is this the role name? I think this one is the role name. Let's go to the IAM. Where is the IAM? Where is IAM? Do you know? I don't have time. I'm going to search and just open up in a new tab. I'm going to go to roles. I'm going to find this out. Here is the one. So what I'm going to do, we have very limited time. So we're going to attach a policy called DynamoDB. Remember, we used something called DynamoDB full, some full access we used yesterday to do some practice. So I'm going to use DynamoDB full access just for the purpose of this exercise. Now go hit this one more time. Can you see this? Is this the record we inserted earlier manually? I just shared the link I just shared the link to all of you in the chat. Hit this link. I'm going to also share this link inside here. Resources. So we have just made our practice test. I think the first test, is passed, right? So we have this one. All right. Are we good up to here? But this is our existing one, right? The one we inserted manually. Are we all? You guys are excited or no? What the heck you are doing, Jahidul? We are not excited. No. So we have done this. Let's now insert some information more there. Okay. So if you go to this document, if you are not familiarized with those command and whatnot, there are multiple ways to do it. Okay, where is that? So are we good up to here that we can view the data from the DB?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now let me proceed test few more things. Where is that document I was trying to show you guys? What is that?
Hey, can you show in the Amazon DynamoDB, how can I view that particular data which was there, the DO one?
Oh yeah, sure. We just checked this one, just a minute. So we are in our table called HTTP crude tutorials items.
Wow.
Then if you come here in this table, you say explore table items. Once you explore, see this is the table you selected. And then here is the item. If you click this item, choose this view, that's how you see this record or items.
And if I add one or two more fields like last name and likewise it would.
Yeah, we can use that. So now we can, our next step is to insert them, okay? Okay, now this can be done many ways. One of the way they showed you is actually creating some service called Cloud9, but that also you can do. I can show it from my computer, but you cannot do it from your computer most likely because you may not have that curl installed. So you can use another simple service called AWS Cloud Shell. I have clicked here. Did you notice this? Oh gosh, it will take time to create.
Yeah.
So it's coming up. It's just nothing but another terminal, okay? Just another interface like your browser. Think of this way. If you are not familiarized with the terminal, okay? So I clicked this, and I hope I am gonna be able to follow this instruction, okay? You see there is the instructions written for you here. You can follow these instructions easily. It is just a simple instruction. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this. This URL is the URL we just used in a few minutes ago. So there are multiple ways we can do it. So let me make sure that I put all of them here in the ticket so that, at some point, maybe it can come a little bit in help, right? So let me use it as a code. Okay, so that's the first command we are going to use, invoke URL. And I think we know what is the URL. This is the URL. Let's go to the GitHub. Items, okay. So all we are just doing, we are saving a variable here inside our system. If you don't understand this, don't worry, just follow this part. Because I think if you are not familiarized with Linux or some commands, you may feel a little bit, bored or what the heck he's doing. But again, you can just follow the simple instructions, what just now I have done. And in the document, it will ask, this is my effort. I'm using another command to communicate as an user with that messenger, which is API gateway. I'm going to now insert information into the DB with this, right? So again, I have to go ahead here and do some work here. If I want to change this value, right? For example, I don't want to change the value. All I can do, I can just, make sure that I separate this so that, it is easy for you to follow. Send data, right? You will see how it looks like shortly. So let me save it. So you can see, you will see it like that. So I can copy. I can go ahead in my AWS account. Where is that guy? Oh gosh. Okay, it's here. I hope the curl is there. So Okay, looks like something happened, right? It says put item this, right? So it did put the item here. Now, if you go to the database, refresh, do you see this item we inserted just now? So let's insert few more, okay? To insert few more, we may have to do some tweak, okay? What is the tweak we have to do? We may have to change this value, right? Let me go use this editor. I just don't want to open another IDE and make some of you mad because Jahidul, I don't know what the heck you're opening. So I just don't want you to do that. So I'm just doing everything here. I'm trying to make your life easy. So maybe we can say record number 35, maybe price is 36, and name is something, okay? Maybe potato. I don't know why I'm writing potato. I just don't know. So we have this, we have the different name of the ID. We can copy this guy. And we can go ahead to the terminal. I know I'm just going over a little bit the time. Oh, sorry. We didn't specify the URL, the full invoke URL. Sorry, I just missed one line. Let me go ahead and fix it. Okay. So what I'm doing, guys, I'm inserting the record, correct? Am I correct or wrong? Why I missed that line? So I'm just adding second item. Now, all these things we would be like, we haven't created any web applications that would have made your life more complicated. So I'm just showing you through this. So now if you go and get all these items using that get items, maybe using if you hit this URL, can you see both items? Pretty print. Do you see them in your end, folks?
Yes.
I shared this link, right? That means we can view, we can see. Now our job is maybe delete, right? So let's go ahead and delete something. How about that? We can delete some items. That should make our life a little easy. Now to delete this item, we need this ID number, right? We need this ID number. And again, we are going to go the terminal. We are going to execute a command.
Jahidul, can I ask a question?
Sure, please.
So you entered the Jack item is first time, but it's showing Jack is in the middle. So is there any chronological order or it's just a random?
No. There is no chronological order, right? It will be actually sorted. You can sort it. You can see we can sort.
Mm-hmm. But
We
the
can
output,
sort
when we click the link, it shows the Jack is in the middle. So what is the...
Okay, that output has no order. Okay, that JSON document, that's a JSON output. Okay, there is no order defined there, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can process that response in a different way in our code and for whatever way we do, but there is no order.
Right.
Okay, so the next thing is we would like to delete. So to delete, we can use the ID. Do you see the ID? We said go delete. This is the invoke URL variable where we have the big URL. And then we can just hit this. If you look this, now this item is not there. So we were able to delete. Now maybe we can try to do one thing. We can try to update. Maybe 35, this one we can try to update. How can we update? Maybe we can add one more column here. Or maybe I update the price. Instead of 46, make it 50, 123.50. So to do that, we have to do a small work, very small work. Let's go back here. I can do it from the terminal too, but I just want to make sure I do from here so that you guys follow me. 123.50. Okay, I'm going to change the price. And I can also add another field and whatnot. I will try to keep it simple. So here, I'm going to add. And do you see the price is 50 now? Are we good or not? We can update too, right? Guys, are we confident? we can update. And we can also see here, right? Items and then item ID. Make it pretty. So that's how we see a pretty item, right?
So we cannot invoke the delete and put from the URL itself, or like the browser URL.
No, this browser has limited capacity, right? So browser is not like, if we want to do it, we have to create a full-fledged nice applications and or use some other mechanism. Okay.
Okay.
So we are using terminal. They will show you something else. They will ask you to create a Cloud9 according to the document, which is more time consuming. So I'm just showing you more shortcut. You can create something called Cloud9. It is a service. It's like a computer in your browser. You should be able to access those terminal and whatnot, because they created this workshop before they launched Cloud Shell, the one I'm showing you. That's why this workshop is not updated. So I'm showing you more easy way. When you come to this Cloud9 step, just go ahead, follow the step I just showed you here. Click this Cloud Shell. It will create this terminal. You need a terminal because it will have curl installed. So you really do not have to do any installation or anything. You can straightforward follow the document. Up to here, we are good. So we have done get, insert, update, and delete. What is this? Our job is done, right, guys? Can we say is done, tested?
Like API test using Postman, some like that, something like that.
Yeah, because you see, if you build something, right, you have to make sure that it is working, right? So last 5 minutes, all we did that we tested whatever we have created, is it working or not? Are we good? Big and developer, big someone, even an infrastructure engineer, DevOps engineer, cloud engineer, support engineer, anything you build, you need to make sure that thing works, right? Are we good? How do I get confidence without knowing that this thing works, right? We have to know. We have to, test it, check it out, and then we can define that it is working. Anyone have any question at this point?
Just one quick question.
Okay.
Is there any limitation for the Lambda? Like say you are asking Lambda to do some task, and that task actually taking maybe an hour long. Is that Lambda still okay or it's not?
Yeah, is actually, yeah, we discussed with this one a little bit details, but I will tell you in short now that the Lambda has a limitation of 15 minutes. It is a 15 minutes runtime limitation.
Thank you.
Okay. That's the max. And there are some other memory limitations and some other limitations. Also, it is not a persistent storage. What does it mean? You cannot really store there. Anything after the runtime, if your application is running 1 minute, it will only keep that storage or data during that 1 minute. After that, when it is dead, invocation is done, it is not going to keep your data. During runtime, we create data and we want to store the data in our physical machine, right? If you think that you want to store data in a Lambda, is not the right service. Your data need to be stored somewhere else. Are we good?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other question? We are almost in the last moment. Any other question?
Jahidul, the question about is general. So I guess you will be sending us as a document that we'll be able to step through and then do the same thing, right?
Yes, obviously.
And then
yeah,
my question is, will there be like, specific permission that an IAM user need to have in order to create? Because, I'm not too familiar what permission I need to give to the IAM user to do certain things.
Yeah, that's the fun part. Okay, that's the fun part. Now you have the basic and foundational understanding. You will have to deal with this, actually, honestly speaking. So definitely, when you try to create this, you will need access to all these services, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And now you know how to give access to one service, correct?
Yes.
Like you need IAM. I showed you another few policies I added, right? DynamoDB. Now, if you need DynamoDB access, your IAM user, if you want to do all of that, right, your IAM user should have access to DynamoDB, should have access to API gateway, should have anything you want to do, you need to give that right access. And you know from where to add the policies in your user.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep, makes sense.
And even before that, your user need to have that IAM access. Because if you do not have IAM access, you cannot add the policies.
Right.
So you just have to think a little bit logically with the foundation you have at this point, that what is policy, why we use policy, and where we add the policy. What is role, why we use the role. What is user, why we use the role. If you have this basic few answer with you already, you should have by this time, right? I think by this today, you have that foundation. And as you see the problem, like you have seen that I showed you a problem, right? Where it clearly says that this user doesn't have this permission. And this is a troubleshooting, indicator for you that where should I go next? Now you immediately know it's a problem with IAM role. Let's go to the IAM role and fix the IAM role and give this permission, right permission, whatever the permission needed, and then it should work.
And
I hope
Jahidul, maintaining user instances, like users, does it cost us, or on the free tier it is still free?
No, anything you are seeing here, it doesn't cost any money actually. Anything I'm doing in this class, it is very safe to do.
Yeah, like even the creating the users, right, from the root users. Suppose I have a root user account, and then I go for implementing this example with all the policies and everything. I create sub users, and then I use those particular users to run through this particular exercise. As the question came from Brother Abdul, right, that or we saw that this particular policy was not applied, and we got a policy exception, right? And then fix it. So our intent is in order to learn that how you having the you means for education purpose, I'll surely go and create a free tier account that would give me my root account access, and then I'll still go and create users and give them access to all these particular services through policies. So now when I've created that user would not incur me any cost, right? Being
No. There is no cost involved with IAM users.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Just
There
wanted
is
to.
no cost involved, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
There is no cost involved. Before you enter your house, you need key, right? AWS want to make sure that you have the key free so that you can use their things, right? And they can make money. So they have some common sense. So they don't want to charge you for the IAM users. So that I do not know if there is any cost involved. There is no cost involved, honestly speaking.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
No problem. Anyone else have any other questions? I know we are running almost 40 minutes more. But yeah, is there any other question I can answer? Those who are like, I do not have, do I have anything at this point? Tomorrow I will see you guys one more time, inshallah. And we'll be focusing on maybe answering some questions from you and also just giving highlights. And then maybe we'll go over the topic we defined here, which is actually, answering your questions about this project and also about certification, right? And giving you the next step. Bilal, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I have a question. So just so I can start getting my feet wet, like, is there like something you want us to start working on? I guess I'm not really seeing if there is a project for us to do from today until tomorrow, or is tomorrow also just listening to you talk?
So during the
Can I start putting any of this in?
You to do something, I expect you to do in your own time because it is time consuming, and I'm giving you this link in the chat, and that is actually the things you should do before you come tomorrow so that you can ask me question. Even you at least try. It should take you an hour or so. If you follow the instructions, you should be able to achieve and come up with the questions as the next session, tomorrow's session, I will take a lot of questions from here if you have, so that's how you may get a little bit more knowledge. So I'm going to say here to do.
No, where is this? This is on the main page. Okay, there, I think I see it.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other question? And now you can comment here. Okay, in this link. So make sure that in this workshop, you give your update. Sorry, in this GitHub link, You can come here, comment, and give your update and whatnot. You can tag me. This is how I get tagged. You can tag at the rate of Jahidul2543. That's my GitHub username. So I can get notification. And I will try to respond to that as soon as I have some time. Okay. Any last moment question from anyone else? No? Great. We are over the time. I appreciate those who has been listening as of now, and we will see you one more time tomorrow. I truly appreciate. I didn't expect this many people will stay until the end, but it is good. I appreciate that. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll take it from there.
Jahidul, I think I have one more question
Sure.
before you leave. Again, I don't know how you're in the program that you're in right now. I mean, I downloaded everything I have. Can I just share my screen with you real quick?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, any other folks, feel free to drop if you think you don't have any question and you're not interested to listen to the discussion. You're definitely free to go. Thank you very much for other folks and those who want to talk and ask me a few things. I can still stay here next 10-15 minutes. I'm fine. Yeah, Ali, you can share your screen. You can take over.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
1 second. Do I see your screen? Where is that? Why don't I see this? Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying. Yeah, I can see your screen, right?
Okay. So this is what I have as far as the GitHub the GitHub goes.
Yeah.
Where am I going from here?
Yeah, so you see your items under your items on the left. On the left.
Right here?
Yeah, see
Yeah.
you're right below. Yeah, click on this. And can you see on the top there is something called project repositories, and on the right there is something called projects. Can you click on projects? And can you see there is a project name AWS Workshop is a school and Austin Muslim Tech?
Yep.
And do you see the ticket
AWS.
where I was working? On the left? On the left.
This right here?
Yes, click it. You should be able to open it up.
Okay.
Okay. Are we good?
So I mean, how still am I mean, how am I getting to the screen that you were at?
Do you see the to-do option? The to-do?
Yes, right here, this link?
Yes, this link. That's the workshop link. And you have all the instructions here. Start from welcome.
Okay, perfect. Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no
it.
problem. Anyone else? Any other question? Okay, I think everyone is good. I appreciate your time and we'll see you tomorrow, inshallah.
Thank you. So
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, guys, see you. Yes, Sajid, I just added you. You can check. Yeah, no problem. You are welcome. You have the ticket. Drop a text, drop a comment. Let us know your update, what you're doing, and whatnot. That will make your life easy. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.